good morning, good night, good afternoon, wherever you may be joining this call in from. Welcome to the Training Transfer Effectiveness series, a webinar we have every Thursday from GMT time, GMT plus 1, which is Nigeria where I am. We have it from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. Those in Ghana is from 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. Those in Kenya is from 9 p.m. to 10:30 p.m. I don't know of any other country. Please, sorry, I can't remember the date for the time zone for any other country. So I just want to say welcome. It's a pleasure to have you all today. Welcome, Caroline. We already started gisting with Caroline. We said our hellos with her before we started. Welcome, Beatrice. It's nice to have you here tonight again. So, Caroline is joining us for the first time. So we want to welcome Sandra. I know you welcomed her before. Please, can you welcome her with the emoticons? Just welcome Caroline. Let me use my other laptop to welcome you, Caroline. Yeah, welcome, Caroline. So welcome. It's nice having you. Beatrice is also saying welcome to you. Beatrice, by the way, you and Caroline are from the same country. Caroline is in Kenya too. So maybe you both have to network too. Because that's also the opportunity. What we do through this, we try to create the network amongst each other to help yourselves grow. And so if you don't mind, Caroline, do you want to type into chat and let us know where you're joining in from, which we know is Kenya, and your role in your organization? Then Beatrice, we already know you, and we know your role in your organization. If you don't mind, because for Caroline's benefit, would you type into chat your role in your organization and where you're joining in from? If you don't mind, please do that. And as I wait for you to do that, I will tell you what we have today. So I'll wait for you to type that, then I could read it out. So for the past 2 weeks, if I'm not mistaken, Samson, for the past 2 weeks, we've been doing Q&A, question and answers. So we started this webinar since, I didn't even introduce myself. Sandra. Okay, let me introduce myself. So my name is Sandra Ihenacho. I'm called the Oracle. I'm the Africa's leading voice on training transfer effectiveness. So when it comes to training transfer effectiveness in Africa, I mean Africa, and I'm proudly saying that. Yeah, in Africa, I am the voice singing and crying and shouting out that let us see the return on investment and return on expectation for every of your training initiatives. You can't see it. We've seen it before with clients, and it's happening. You just have to do it right. So I'm that voice crying out. So I'm known as Africa's leading voice for training transfer effectiveness. I'm a mother of 5 children. I'm happily married to a husband, a man, with a mother of 5 children, 3 boys and 2 girls. I live in Lagos, Nigeria here. I'm the humble servant of an organization called M. Bryan Consulting Limited. It's an organization in Lagos, Nigeria. It's an organization we are into human capital development, and we are very high on return on investment, return on expectation. We do 2 things. We do HR consulting and learn and development. Now, under learn and development, we do just 3 things: training, coaching, and mentoring. And in all the services we render, we believe very strongly that there should be a return on investment and return on expectation. And we work with our clients to show them. And what else about me? I also teach in the Lagos Business School in Lagos, Nigeria. Here is the foremost business school in Nigeria, if not in Africa. Right? So I teach in the Human Resource and Organizational Behavior department. I teach on leadership, mostly leadership and coaching. I'm a certified coach, but more on leadership. I teach an authentic leadership class, and I teach in the AMP, Advanced Management Program. And I'm also a certified transformational coach with Coach Masters Academy from Singapore. I'm also a certified team and group coach from Ignite Global Ignite Global is in Singapore too. Yes. What else about me? That's a bit about me. And I'm also the creator of 2 models we use for our clients. I've been researching for the past 10 years, more than 10 years. I think since 2011, if I'm not mistaken. 2011. That should be 14 years, right? I've been high on showing returns. So I didn't know about return on expectation before. I knew about just return on investment, and I knew about the Return on Investment Institute. I knew about Kirkpatrick, but it wasn't enough. So I kept researching, working with clients. I got to know about return on expectation. My eyes were like, wow, and so I know about these things, and we are working with organizations to help them show ROI and ROE for all their training initiatives. I think that's a bit about myself. And so let me see. I already see things on the so let me read it. So from Caroline, she's an L&D manager from Kenya, particularly Nairobi, and she works in a local bank in Kenya. Welcome, Caroline. And Bridges, of course, we know her. She's an HR manager in a leading cement manufacturing company. Welcome, both of you. And I think it's because of both of you that I'm going to tweak this a bit. So today we're supposed to be taking Q&A. Or let me ask you, I think that's better. Do you want us to take the challenges, or do you want me to just teach on something? So I didn't say this too. There are so many things I do, so I'm very careful. I don't take time talking about my accolades, giving myself accolades. So I work with the IFC. IFC is International Finance Corporation. I'm one of their master trainers. So in the world, we're about 30 something. In Nigeria, I think we are just 4. So I'm one of them in Nigeria. And so we do train the trainers. So we certify other trainers. I also work with the LPI, Learning Performance Institute, as a certified assessor. I assess trainers globally to ensure that they are using the right competences in training. Now, I had a webinar with them yesterday. So I do webinars for them from time to time. And yesterday we were talking about return on investment and return on expectations for finance training. A lot of people that work with the IFC, with World Bank, you should know they are finance based and all that. That doesn't mean there are no other people they work with. So I decided to create a package for the finance people. But I told all those that were not finance people that you can also learn from this and apply it to what you're doing. So there are 2 things now. Do you want me to take your Q&As? Ask me any question you want to ask me, any challenges you're having in showing ROI and ROE for your training invest initiatives, or do you want me to, that webinar I took with them, take you through it with that? Because I told them the difference between return on investment and return on expectations. I showed them how to go about it. I showed them 2 frameworks and a model I use with clients. So I showed them a whole lot of things, and I now open. They asked me so many questions. Even there was no time, there were so many questions, but Yulia had to end the meeting. She said, when Sandra comes, because I'm going to do another webinar. So when Sandra comes next time, people ask her those questions. There was no time again. So let me ask both of you, what will it be for you? What do you want us to do? Because I want to give you this opportunity. Caroline, what do you think? Okay, I see Caroline. Yes, Caroline, please.
All right. For me, and sorry, I'm having a cold, so I hope you can hear me clearly.
I can hear you clearly.
I would prefer that we do both. I do have questions around ROI and ROE. That's why I thought I wanted to listen in. So maybe I can just mention my expectations, but I would still hope that you can take us through. So a lot of times when we do the training, like where I work, so you finish, you've probably even gotten some feedback as regards how was the session, and you guys have said either good or they've said areas of improvement. How long after that training is a reasonable time to do that ROI? Because I feel like if you do try and get, let's say, if it's sales teams, you try and get some dashboards to see where they were and where they are now. Prematurely, you might think that maybe the training was not effective, but maybe you did it too soon, or you might do it too late. Maybe if you do it like after 1 year. What is the right time to do that return on investment? And what are the different ways that you can actually check other than maybe numbers? Because like for me who works in a bank, it mostly just picks, we mostly look into the numbers. But for roles that are not, that where you cannot quantify numbers, that maybe are the support roles, like to a sales role, what other parameters can I look at to know that I did this training for Sandra and now I can see that there's a return on this investment?
Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you so much. I see what Beatrice says. Beatrice said, let's do both. This question you've asked, I think I need to do that training. I need to do that webinar I did for them yesterday. It will answer everything. It seems as if you were in that webinar because everything you just asked, the answer is there, and I give them the answer. So let me run through it. And so this is going to be engaging. As I'm going through, please stop me. So in their own time, because we had so many people joining from different parts of Africa, I told them, please don't ask any question yet. Let's wait till the end. And I gave them over 20-25 minutes to ask questions, yet it was not enough. So you can imagine if I allowed them to be asking questions during the webinar, that means I won't have finished my slides. But now it's just the three. Okay, so I have Samuel Fosu. Samuel, welcome. So is Samuel, just type into chat your role and where you're joining in from. We're happy to have you here. Welcome. And Samson, please welcome Samuel. We're just seeing him for the first time, I think so. So please, as I'm doing that, be ready to cut me. Tell me, Sandra, wait, I need to ask a question and all that. So I think that's what I'll do. Let me share this. And I think I just got prepared for it with you people. Great. So this was the webinar I took yesterday with the IFC, but I'm going to have it with you people so that you could understand all those questions you're asking to help you. Now, I was looking at, we're going to look at return on investment, return on expectation. Forget the finance training you're seeing there. Put whatever training you want to see there. Put it there. Return on investment and return on expectation. What is it? So when we talk about return on investment, return on expectation, what I've found that is for training, people are just ticking boxes. Yeah? We have to meet our budget. If we don't complete our budget, next year they will cut our budget. People go for training just to escape from their desk. They want to escape from their desks, and so they go for training. Why some people, it is what we call, I don't know if it happens, I'm sure it happens everywhere. It's not just in Nigeria. Turn by turn. There's a certain level you go to. There's a certain training you go for. Either the Lagos Business School, the Harvard Business School, the Strathmore Business School, they send you there more like a reward for coming there. So these are all the things and many more we see happening in training. So if you want to see returns on investment for your training, you need to do the right thing, and that's what we'll be looking at. Let me read a message from Samuel. He said, I'm from Ghana. I work in Compassion Ghana as program trainer. Okay, welcome, Samuel. So let's move ahead. So welcome, so glad you are here. Yeah, right. So this was what I was saying. Today's roadmap, what we will explore and what we'll walk away with. Today's conversation isn't about theory. No more theory. Well, I never do theory. I always do practical. Every story I use is practical. It has happened. So I have so many stories we've used as experience. These are things we've tasted. We've tried it and it has worked. So we are a practical organization. I'm a practical person. I don't believe in all these theory things. So today I'm going to be so practical, and I want you to, as I'm talking, fire me questions. As in, when I say questions, I need fire me questions so that you can get answers. Now, I'm here to give you practical tools, language, mindset, and move. It might, because people watch this video, so it's not just 3 of you here. There are people that watch this video because we put it in our YouTube. So I will encourage you, after today, go to our YouTube channel and watch all the videos we've been putting there. What training transfer is, what training transfer effect, all the videos. So I hope that this training, so I want to move you from telling management, we hope this training worked, to rather, we can prove this training worked, and you can prove it. So the mindset I'm shifting away from is, I want you to see training as a strategic way. So this is strategic to shift your mindset. I want to shift your mindset, sharpen your tools, and strengthen your reporting power. So whenever you're reporting about the training, you'll be confident doing that. Now, this is the roadmap. This was what we're going to be looking at, why training often struggles to prove its value. So just like I said, remove the finance there. I'm not going to call finance. I'm going to be talking to whatever training it is you're doing. So why does that training you do often struggle to prove its value? I think I should even allow you to answer now at this point in time. Why do you struggle to prove the value of training in your organization? Is there anybody that wants to share? Why do you struggle to prove the value of training in your organization? Can you see the roadmap? My other system is not showing the roadmap, but the one I'm presenting is showing it. Can you see the next slide, which is a roadmap? Okay, yes, you can see the roadmap. Okay, then it is from my system. Thank you so much, Caroline. Samson, please also be with me. If I'm asking, you can also answer. Samuel is asking for the YouTube channel, so please put it up there for him. Okay, great. So is there anybody that wants to try, or should I just go ahead? Have you thought about it? Why do you struggle to prove the value of your training? Or do you have such challenges? Do you have such challenges struggling to prove the value of your training? Caroline, please. Yes, please.
In my case, I feel like I struggle to prove the value because like the current environment I'm in expects results tomorrow. While training, I believe, is like a 5% or sometimes even a 2% addition to changing someone's mindset, just like you've said. And to see the results sometimes can take some time. So because people don't see immediate value, then they deem like, okay, this training was just ticking a box, and do we really need it? Yeah, that's what I believe.
Interesting. Is there any other person that wants to share? So we are going to change that story in your organization. It may take a bit of time, because strategic, we're going to change that story, and I'll show you how to go about that. Okay, let's move ahead. There's no other person that wants to share. We're going to be looking at ROI versus ROE, what they mean in your training. What do they mean in your training? So you'll be able to distinguish between what exactly ROI is, what exactly ROE is, and you'll be able to capture both in any of your training you're going to be doing. I'm going to be sharing with you 2 frameworks. You can see something in the chat. I hope you can. Okay, I'm going to be sharing with you 2 frameworks and a model. So please, with time, I would turn off my video to ensure that we've been having network connectivity. My other system is even off. So if you don't mind, I'll turn off my video once in a while just to ensure we don't go off. I'm going to be sharing with you 2 frameworks and a model that will guide you to show real world impact. I'll break down those 2 frameworks, and also break down the model into actionable steps you can start taking even as you leave this webinar. I'm going to show you metrics and tools that tell the right story. Some of the metrics and tools that tell the right story. What should you measure, and how should you communicate it? We will look at few of those metrics, and the metrics I'm going to be looking at to be in the finance side, because it was a training for finance people, right? But you can also look at it, put it together. Then I'm going to show you how to design, track, and communicate return on investment and return on expectation. How to do what? Design, track, and communicate return on investment and return on expectation. So I'm going to show you how do you plan your evaluation, and how do you present the results in a way that augurs well with your executives, that they will listen, they want to listen to you. And last but not the least, I'll take Q&A, ask the oracle. But right now, just like I said, I will allow you to ask questions, just budging at any point in time. Now let's move ahead. So for the past 3 decades, I've worked across various industries, from micro enterprises to multinational. So let me stop my video now, please permit me. From micro enterprises, to multinationals, from helping organizations. I've been helping them to solve one problem. And what's that problem? They've been asking, how do we ensure that training creates real value for the business? How? And I've been working with organizations to show them that. So I'm known as Africa's leading voice on training transfer effectiveness. I'm the CEO of Embrand Consulting Limited, the organization where I work, and I'm the creator of 2 models that we are using, but I'm going to be sharing just one with you. It's called the NVP model and the PDP model. Now, the NVP means needs validation process model. If you go to our website, our YouTube channel, you see a video on this, the webinar where I explain this. Now, I have found out times without number that whenever there's a performance issue, the solution to that performance issue is they call it training. Am I correct? Most times, often, line managers, there's an issue with their direct reports, they have a performance issue, they say send them on training. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Send them on training. That most times is the first response you get. But we found out times without numbers that sometimes training is not the solution. Training is not the intervention that is needed. Thank you, Beatrice. Very true. Training is not the intervention that is needed. And I have a live case that happened. I don't know if... Okay, let me share because I'm already checking time. We've already done 30 minutes already. But let me see how far we can go. Even if I don't finish the slide this week, we can continue next week. So I don't want you to miss anything. Now, NVP is called the needs validation process model. We found out that with this issue, we found that we of course we created this model. We tried with a client in January. In January, a client reached out to us and said she wanted us to, the CEO of the business, wanted us to train her staff on 5 different areas. She had 5 performance issues, challenges. And to us to create a proposal and send to her that we used to train her staff. We told her that we cannot do that we need to do a needs validation. See, needs validation process is not TNA. It's not training needs analysis. It's not the same thing. What organizations don't do this model, we are the ones that created this model, they don't do it. What organizations do is either they do a TNA, training needs analysis, or they do an organizational need analysis. They don't do a needs analysis to find out if training is the intervention is the right intervention for a performance gap. I've not heard of any organization doing it. Correct me if I'm wrong. And so she asked us if she was going to pay. I said, yes, you're going to pay for it. She said, and what if it's training? She also pay for it. I said, that's what it is, ma. You have to pay for it. And so because we came highly referred, she had decided to go with us. Let me not say she had no choice. She decided to go with us. Now we did that, used our model, the needs validation process model. Went through, it's a 4-step diagnostic approach model. If you go to the webinar, you see it's a 4-step thing. We did it with her. And after we came up with the result, we found out that only out of those 5 performance issues, it was only 2 that were training intervention. Can you beat that? The remaining 3 were non-training intervention. One was a system issue, culture. The second one was a process issue, which if you also go through the YouTube, you see I talked about 5 critical factors that either makes a training transfer effectiveness work or not. 5 critical factors. Check it on YouTube too. I can't talk about that again because of time. Then I told her, can you see what we're telling you? So we would have trained your staff, and if things did not change, you would say that we don't know how to train. So you can see the problem a lot of training organizations put themselves into. They will take up something without doing the right thing, and they go and train because they need to train, and at the end the organization will come back and say to them, you did not train well, the problem is still there, and they would give them a red mark. So I told her, can you see? I told her the remaining 3 things you can do it on your own. You don't need us to come in. And to tell you, the company did not call us for the remaining 3 that non-training intervention they could do. Did we shoot ourselves on the foot? No. We felt that was the right thing to do, so it's not a problem. So with that, only 2 things were training intervention. And that's when from there, you now use the PDP model. You're going to look at the PDP model because one of the models I'm going to talk about. So let me not talk about it here. So these 2 models are helping African organizations to stop waste. There's something I called training scrap. Go and check again. If you type it, training scrap, it's only Sandra's name you see there. It was a word I coined. Training scrap is when you send your employees on training and they come back, they don't apply that. It's a waste. Scrap is waste. So that money, that time, that knowledge was wasted, and it's training scrap. So a lot of organizations are accumulating a lot of scrap from their training. When are you going to stop allowing that to happen? So the PDP model and the MVP models are helping African organizations. They're helping them to stop training waste. And what are these models doing? They're finally linking their training to measurable results. That's what it's doing. So I'm here not to teach you theory. I'm here to equip you with the tools that work. It has worked for organization, it is working for organization, and to continue to work. And so by the end of today's webinar, you will feel that if you feel that you're called to go deeper, said, wow, these things the Oracle has said, Sandra has said, I think I need to go deeper. This webinar is not enough. It's not enough time for me. Then I'll be inviting you to join the mastermind program. I also talk about later. It's a program I've curated for L&D heads, trainers, HR managers, HR directors. It's an 18 weeks program that is starting July 1st on Tuesdays. It's online, virtual. Step by step, week by week, I show you, and I will handhold you until you show return on investment, return on expectation of that your training. You take one. It's what we call a capstone project. I'll talk about it later. So we'll come back to that later. So those are the two models I created, and I call myself, I'm the pioneer of the TTE movement across Africa. TT is called Train Transfer Effectiveness. There's nobody talking about it in Africa. Even globally, there's nobody talking about TTE. So I'm proud to say that I'm the pioneer of the TTE movement across Africa and beyond. Now, the hard truth. I want to start with a very hard truth. You will agree with me that training is not an event. It's not a one-time event. I've seen people that have taken training as a one-time event. Let us train and it's over. Everybody go back to their old ways. Enough is enough. We cannot continue that. Training is an investment. And so most times, most organizations up till now, as I'm talking to even right now, they are still treating training as an event. They still treat training as a checkbox exercise. That's what they are treating training as. You bring people together in a room, you teach them leadership, you teach them compliance, you teach them reporting best practice, you teach them ethics, financial analysis, delegation, and everyone goes back to work and they're still doing the same thing. Where is the evidence that something changed? Can you show that evidence? A lot of HR and L&Ds cannot, trainers, they cannot show that evidence that something has changed. And so training is a strategic investment. It is designed to drive measurable performance outcomes. And are you ready to drive that? That is what training is. Training goes beyond knowledge transmission. If training is not leading to performance transformation, then you've wasted your time and money. Sorry, when it comes to this, I feel so passionate. I hope my voice is not, because sometimes you say, Sandra, you're so passionate. I hope my voice is not sounding so hard as if I'm shouting and all that. I'm very sorry if it is coming across that. It's painful. It really is painful because I've been on this journey for the past 20-something years. And people just want to continue to waste money. I say waste not, want not, don't waste things. So otherwise, we've just wasted time. So, but when you see training as an investment, so let me use for an example. When you acquire softwares or you hire a consultant or you want to upgrade the system, you know that you want to get, we are paying for this software, it must deliver. But why is it that when it comes to training, we're not thinking about that? For those in the banking sector, because I worked in the banking sector, we used Heidel when I was in the banking sector. I don't know if that's what you use, Caroline, in the bank where you work, if you use Heidel. I know Heidel was then when I was in the bank, it was from India. They sent some of our people to India to learn it, and they started using Heidel. That's what we're using. But they made sure it was working, because without Heidel, the bank will not pay you. They cannot do all their transaction. So when they came back, they made sure Heidel was working and it was delivering. So why can't we do the same thing with training, all our trainings? Why will you send people on leadership training? You send people on sales training. Even sales is better. They are looking at the numbers, like they are seeing the returns. And yet, you're not making sure it's working. We must track results. Value must be proven. Value must be proven. Okay, you use Heidel. Okay, Caroline. Okay, great. So you understand. And Heidel is working for you people. So why are people not allowing training to work? Why are we not recording, tracking it? When Heidel is down, I was in one of the banks that they used Heidel. The Heidel went down. They could not pay us. They were apologizing. Waiting there, trying to get it to start working. So why don't we do that with training? We must track training. We must show value. Value must be proven. Value must be proven. Now, but without a focus on transfer, even the best design training becomes training scrap. What I found out is a lot of organizations do training without a focus on transfer. Transfer means application. That's what transfer is, application. Then training transfer effectiveness means sustained application, sustainability. That means those things they've learned in the training, they're applying it often and often. And with that, you're seeing the returns. Today, I am here. I've been changing that. That's why I call myself Africa's leading voice on training transfer effectiveness. I hope you're going to join me to start changing that. Now, I'm going to give you an exercise. Get your bio, get your paper or your phone. I'm a very traditional person. I still write. If you say I have booklet, still writing, and I'm not used to writing on my phone all the time. So whichever you want to use, I want you to write down one training you ran or you attended in the past 6 months. Or 6 months. Okay, let me leave 6 months. I want to say 3 months. So let me leave a long time, 6 months, in case maybe you've not attended any. Since January till now. One training you ran or you attended. I'm not asking for more than one, just one. Now, have you written it down? Because I want to give you the next thing. Please feel free to always unmute your mic. We're not much, so you can unmute your mic. Have you written it? Let me see those, because my other laptop is off. Okay, Beatrice Caroline. Okay, we have someone that joined us. Welcome, Osonela Danesi Odo. Welcome. Please type into chat where you're joining in from, and let us know your role in your organization. Type in where you're joining in from and let us know your role in your organization. Thank you for joining us. So let me see what we have there. Yes, okay, you've written it down. Thank you, Caroline. Good. Now, I want you to ask yourself and be very truthful. What was the business result? That training you ran or you attended, what was the business result? Now, as you're thinking about that, I want to add B to that question. Did this show up in the report? Did this show up in the behavior? Or did this show up in the decision making? If not, we will explore why as we go on. But I want you to ask it, what was the business result for that training? Anybody can unmute me. I have finished asking my question. Okay, so Osonela said, I'm the head of people and culture in my organization. I'm located in Lagos. Welcome, Osonela, welcome. So who wants to share with us? Who wants to share with us? Let me take the question again. I told you to write down one training you attended or you ran in the last 6 months. What was the business result? Did it show up in the reports? Did it show up in the behavior or decision making? Is there anybody that wants to share? Then if you don't want to share, please, it's okay. Just help me to type it directly to me or to Samson. Just tell me that you don't want to share, in case you don't want to share, and I will remove it. Or no, what we can also do, if you don't, we can also cut it out later. If you don't want it to appear and all that, we can always cut it out. Samson always edits this. We can edit it and remove that part while we continue. So because this is a practical session, I would like you to share. Okay, Caroline says emotional intelligence was the training, and so what was the business result? When you say behavior change, do you want to unmute your microphone? Let me ask you the question, or where you are, you cannot unmute. What do you think?
Sorry, Sandra, is that to me?
Yes, please, Caroline. Yes, I saw what you wrote.
Okay.
Yes. So you said the training was emotional intelligence. Was it you that attended it or you ran it?
No, I ran it.
Awesome. So what was the business result after the emotional intelligence training?
That's part of the reason why I'm here, because
Awesome.
I'm not able to quantify what is the business
Beautiful.
result. I'll, however, get feedback from the team members. Let's say if I'm training heads of departments, they'll be like, yeah, we've seen a change with our team leader, so and so. But in terms of quantifying it now to say, wow, this is actually directly impacting performance, that's the struggle. Yet I know if there's behavior change, then it means that people probably are working a bit better together and therefore impacting performance thereafter. But how to demonstrate it, that's the hard part.
Awesome. Thank you so much. That's why you're here, and that's what we're going to be looking at, because I can, just like you said, I can see the business results. Okay, great. Is there another person that wants to share with us? Beatrice, do you want to share with us? Samuel, Danesi, do you want to share with us, or do you want me to just go ahead? If I don't hear you, okay, let me go ahead. Maybe they just want they want to listen in. Caroline, thank you so much. At least you've been helpful by asking and sharing. Okay, let's move ahead. So we're going to explore that today. So don't worry. That's why you're here. So we're going to explore that today. Now let's look at it. So I'm going to remove this part. I already know those in the room. I told you it was a webinar I used. I used that to find out. I did a poll to know those in the room. So these were the objectives. By the end of this webinar, you should be able to explain the importance of ROI and ROE in demonstrating the impact of finance training, impact of your training. You should be able to identify the metrics and tools to measure both financial and expectation-based returns. You should be able to apply a model and frameworks to design and evaluate your training programs. Then you should be able to create a training impact report that resonates with organizational leaders. So these are the 4 objectives for this session. Now let's go into it now. Okay, these were interactive elements you can expect today. I use poll. So these are what I use. I use reflections. I use Q&A, and I use action plan. So you're going to give us an action plan. Great. Now this is the big question. Let me ask you, and I want you to really think about this. What did your last training achieve? What did your last training achieve? Don't forget, for Samuel that just joined, I said this was a webinar I did yesterday for the IFC, and that's why you're seeing finance, because it was a webinar on return on investment, return on expectations for finance training, showing your impact. So anywhere you see finance, put any training you want to put. What did your last training achieve? Was it just well attended? Did it transform behavior? Could you show that it really transformed behavior? So for those that maybe if it was an accounting finance, like the finance department, which was the training, I did it for them. He said, I asked them, did he reduce errors in reporting? Was it able to improve compliance? Did he make them to be able to show their audits that make audits easier? Or did he just give everyone a nice break from their decks? Oh, we are going for 2 days training. No Beatrice shouting at us, or no Beatrice disturbing us and giving us work. No Caroline, no Samuel, no Osonella giving us any training. So too often, the results of training are assumed and not measured. Too often, we assume that the training was okay. We assume that it's making an impact without measuring it. But I'm going to tell you this. Whatever you assume, you cannot defend. And whatever you cannot defend, you cannot fund. I'll take that again. And that's a quote from me. Whatever you assume, you cannot defend. And whatever you cannot defend, you cannot fund. And that's why they would always come to your training budget to cut your training budget. Now I want you to reflect now. What is really happening after the training ends? What is really happening? What happens after the training ends? What really happens after the training ends? Just reflect on that. What really happens after the training ends? Okay, I'm going to put you on the spot, Samuel. I just read what Samuel wrote. I'm going to put you on the spot now, Samuel. So get ready, unmute your microphone. Samuel said, yes, it was well attended and it has achieved its purpose. We get feedback from the people that we trained. When you say achieved its purpose, what do you mean? Do you want to share with us? Because we are here to learn from each other. And what feedback were you getting? Do you want to unmute your microphone, or do you just want to type into chat, or do you want me to go ahead? Okay, Samuel, just type into chat. Maybe where you are, you cannot speak, because I like hearing it. Okay, I'm struggling with my microphone. Okay, when you're mute, I will give you the opportunity to speak. So let me continue. When you're mute, just start speaking. I'll stop talking. So those are the things I hear people say. It was well attended, yes. It achieved its purpose. What was the purpose it achieved? Training feedback and training reports. What is the feedback and what is the report? This is from Osanella. What is the feedback and what is the report? If you want, you can unmute my microphone, because we need to be very practical in this. Let's stop HR and L&D jargon, as I call it. Let's talk business wise now. What was the training feedback and what was the report? Okay, I know you can't unmute where you are, so type into chat, please. What was the training about and what was the feedback? I'm sure by the time I finish this webinar, you would understand where I'm going to. So by the end of this webinar, I want you to be able to look back at that training you just did, or the one you've done, and I want you to know exactly how to measure it and how to report it. I'm going to try my best within this short time to show you a bit of it, how to measure the training and how to report it. And now we're going to do that using these two frameworks and the model. That's what we're going to do. So let's move ahead. So ROI versus ROE. Now, okay, I see it's something in chat. Let me look at it before I continue. It was a junior manager trainer, but external. I didn't conduct the training. Yes, even if you did not conduct it, you're part of the training. Listen, people are the ones that invited the trainer that came to do it. What was the training about? How did you go about it? What were the outcomes? What did you measure? So those are the questions. Excuse me now. ROI and ROE are two lenses that you're going to use to prove your training value. If you use only ROI, so ROI means return on investment, ROE means return on expectation. If you use only ROI to prove your training, you cannot prove the value of your training. If you use only ROE, you cannot prove the value of your training. You need both of them, because some of CEOs, they like numbers, and so most of them move towards ROI. But by the time you're able to show them that even in that ROI, in that training, you show them ROE, which is return on expectation, because even though they want numbers, there are some things they're expecting. So some CEOs will say, I need a senior, this was a training, open program, people came, and their CEOs will say, I need them to start using coaching skills. You need them to start using coaching skills. I hope you know that is return on expectation. That is not return on investment. When you need people to start using coaching skills, when you need people to be able to delegate more, when you need people to be confident in their work, when you need people to own the work, that is return on expectation. No? How do you now show this and translate it to numbers? That is what I want to show you. So you can do it. It is doable. It is what is working. So these are the two lenses for proving the value of training, and we call them return on investment and return on expectation. So when we talk about value in training, so this is it. I have 10. I came up with 10 aspects which I'm going to share with you. Let me see. I have a message. Okay, it wasn't in the premises. Employees, this is from Samuel. It wasn't in the premises. Employees always submit a full written report on the training involving what they learned and give a practical presentation, a minute training on it. I'm going to tell you, Samuel, this thing you wrote, even after they do this, it's not going to. It's not Samuel, it's Sonella. You're not going to get return on investment and return on expectation on this. Let's take a bet. Let's take a bet on money. Let's bet on money. I am categorically and as a subject matter expert on this telling you, you will not get return on investment, return on expectation on this. Is this the first time? You're laughing, is it true, Tosonella? Haven't you heard, is this the first time people are going on training and they're giving you a report, they're coming to do a practical presentation? After that, what happens? After the practical presentation, you don't want to bet. Tosonella said, I don't want to bet. Because you know it. We all know this. They will come and give presentation. After the presentation, what happens? They go back to their old ways. Nothing happens because nobody is tracking. Nobody is checking. Nobody is doing anything. You're lucky you don't want to bet. I wanted to bet 1 million. 1 million naira. I will transfer it to either Beatrice's account or I'll transfer it to Caroline's account. they will keep that money. Anybody that wins will take the money. You transfer your 1 million, I'll transfer my 1 million. We'll keep it and let's watch. We'll give you 3 months and let's see. Nothing will happen. That's how far I can bet on that. Now let's look at this. Now when we talk about any training, is it a finance training like what Caroline was sharing with us when we started? For sales, they talk about numbers. If you notice, they talk in numbers, in figures. Now, expectations is decision makers look at both. There are some decision makers that look at ROI, while there are some that look at both ROI and ROE. So you need to be able to show it so that your decision makers will start looking at ROE. I came across a post on LinkedIn by Major Preg Bagran. He's a colleague in the training space too. He's also into transfer like what I do. He's in Malaysia. And he had a CEO on his training program. And the CEO was high on return on expectation. I reposted that and I celebrated that CEO. I said, this is what I'm looking for. I said, I'm looking for CEOs that are not just on return on investment, they're also high on return on expectations. I told the man, I doff my cap for you. I'm so proud of you and I celebrate you. Now, ROI speaks, which is return on investment, speaks to the bottom line. And is either was money saved? Was money earned? Was time gained? Were errors reduced? Can we show this in numbers? That's what ROI is always talking about. Number. Did we save money? Did we gain money? Did we make money? Did the errors reduced? Can we show this in numbers? Why ROE is more of a strategic metric. ROI is about strategic alignment. Did the training achieve what the CFO wanted? Did the training achieve what the board wanted? Did the training achieve what the CEO wanted? Did the training achieve what the director wanted? Did the training achieve what it was expected to do? That's what ROE says. Now, the twist is you can have ROI without having ROE. I hope you know that. Also, you can have ROE without having ROI. You can meet expectations, may be met. What the CFO wants, you can meet it. And because it was not sustainable, it may not hit the bottom line, it may just hook. But most times, so what we say is aim for the ROE and get the ROI. And most times when you get the ROE and you get it well, you will definitely get ROI. So when you capture both ROI and ROE, I tell you, you're unstoppable. So now let's look at this. The primary purpose of ROI is just to show the financial return of training, what the organization gained in currency. The financial, that's what it is. It is quantitative. That's the word. It is quantitative, while ROE is qualitative. It is quantitative, ROI is qualitative. The primary purpose of ROE is to show whether this training met the leadership strategic goals. Did it meet the behavioral expectations? Did it meet what the board was expecting? Did it meet what the CEO wanted? Did it meet the expectations of the leaders? Now let me give you a very clear example. A CFO, which is the Chief Financial Officer, a CFO can, if maybe he sent his team on finance training, right? And after the training, they were able to save money on audit penalties. So they show them how to ensure that they do their auditing well so that they don't have penalties, right? Now, and they were able to, with that, they were able to see an increase. So as the audit penalties reduces, they save more money when it reduces. But if it keeps increasing, they are losing money. Now they saved money because the audit penalties reduced. But yet the CFO is still saying, telling HR, I feel this my team people, they're not up to par. I feel they don't own the job. They don't own it. I can't feel the ownership in them. How can a CFO be saying, but they met their numbers now? How can you still be saying that they are not owning the job, yet they met their target? So you will notice that training was all about ROI, was never about ROE. So his expectation has still not been met, even if the numbers have been met. But let's flip it the other side. If after the training they still had ROI, right? And they still had the ROI, just the example I gave you now. And the CFO said to the HR and the L&D said, wow, this finance trainer, I've just noticed my team members that they own the job. As in, they own it. I don't need to be there to tell them anything. When they see something is wrong, immediately, they don't wait for me. They do it. Even when I'm not around, they gather, they rally around about the same, and they do it. Thank you so much, HR. Thank you, L&D. Can you see what happened? They met the return on investment, they saved money, and at the same time, the expectation of the CFO was met. That is ROE. So you must ensure that you meet ROI and meet the ROE of every training. Now let's go to the second one. Key question they ask. ROI asks, did the training make or save us money? That's what ROI asks. That's the only thing ROI does. Did the training make money for us? Did it save us money? That's what ROI is looking at. But what is ROE looking at? ROE is saying, did this training meet the result our leaders were expecting? Even though we've made money, did it make the result our leaders were expecting? Now I'm going to give you another clear example. A group of leaders that came for a training, I took them on coaching, and I told they are teaching Lagos Business School. So after during break, they came to meet me. I took them 2 sessions, one on coaching, one on delegation, and they said, "Thank you so much, madam. This thing, you all said we have 2 CEOs that we are going to give you an example that happened." Said our former CEO, when he was the CEO, that we were meeting target, but there was blood all over the ground. I hope you understand what I mean by blood on the ground. Shouting. People were, that the turnover, the attrition rate was so high. People were leaving. People were disenchanted. People were not happy. Take note, they were meeting target. They were meeting their target. They were hitting their numbers. But yet, people were not happy in the organization. The attrition rate was high. And he did not care. He said, let them go. That there will be other people. There are people looking for job. They will join. They now said, but we have a new CEO. I said, madam, we are meeting our targets. We are superseding our targets. But yet, the attrition rate has reduced. That we are happy going to work. As in, we look forward coming to work. And they were now one just say, what was wrong? See, but we are even doubling our target. Why did that person have to put blood on the table? What was the difference? ROI, that CEO was all about ROI. He can put blood on the table to get his numbers, to get his figures, to make money. He didn't care. But the new CEO they had was what? Was more of ROE. And the first year thought he was making money. Check the attrition rates. By the time you take the numbers of how they keep recruiting, people will leave. They spent money to onboard people. They spent money to train people. They will leave. You bring more people. You pay money for recruitment. You pay money to onboard. Do you check those figures? Hope you know there's money spent. Even if you don't bring out the money, there's money spent. Time is money. Calculate your time of your staff. To calculate, I said, calculate how many hours you're supposed to work in a day. Multiply it by and you know how much you're supposed to. You're paid every hour you work. So you know how to make use of your hours very well. That is ROI and ROE. Now who cares about most? The CFOs, finance directors, CEOs, but they care more about ROI, a lot of them. ROE, maybe departmental heads, line manager, maybe some CEOs. What is the focus area for ROI? Cost savings. They're talking about cost saving, productivity increase, let's reduce errors, let them be gain of income. What is ROE looking at? He's looking at increased trust. You will not see that in ROI. ROI is not talking about trust. ROI is all about the figures, the numbers. ROI is talking about increased trust. Is there trust in this organization? Is the culture in this organization okay? Are there behavior shift in this organization? Is there performance improvement? Is there strategic alignment? This is what ROE is talking about. The ROE, like stakeholders' trust, isn't measured by a dashboard. No. You can't measure, it's not measured by a dashboard. It is proven by the shift in the behavior. It is proven by not micromanaging people. People are no more micromanaged. People do things on their own. It's proven by people taking accountability. It's proven by leadership confidence. It's proven by people saying yes. And it comes for how you structure and follow through on your training, which is what I'm going to be showing you. And even if time is up and we don't finish this, we'll continue next week. But I'm going to give time for questions. So I'm checking my time. We have just 23 minutes more. If I don't finish it, we'll continue next week. I will allow you to ask questions. Because I don't want to rush this. I want you to get this. So at least when you get back to the organization, you start doing something immediately. How do you measure ROI? ROI, I've told you before, is quantitative. It's measured in whichever currency you're using. For us in Nigeria, we use Naira. Abroad, American, internationally is dollars that is well recognized. That's why I put dollars there. You have euros, you have pounds, you have cedis, you have CFA, you have whatever it is you have. That's how I think I see a question on the chat box. Okay, thank you, Samson. Okay, Samson is dropping the YouTube channel. Now that the ROE, what does it do? ROE is more qualitative, which I said that before. It's measured through the perceptions, it's measured through feedback, it's measured through observation, it's measured through 360. You do 360. So there are various ways you can measure ROE. Great. So now let's look at 5 more. Then we'll move ahead. Then maybe I'll stop here and ask questions. If there are questions, I'll take your questions. So let me show you the 5 more differences. Now, what is the source for ROI? The data source. You can get it from financial reports, you can get it from audit records, you can get it from the cost-benefit analysis. These are some of the places you can get data for ROI. For ROE, where can you get the data? You can get it from surveys, focus groups, interviews, 360 reviews, stakeholder feedback sessions. These are places where you can get ROE. What is the challenge in measurement? In measuring our ROI, where do we have challenges? We have challenges in getting the accurate baseline data and financial tracking. I'm going to give you an example on this again. Now, there was an organization we trained last year. They reached out to us last year, September. And when they came to us, we had to do a pitch. Of course, we submitted. Everybody submitted. It's an international organization. Of course, I will not say the name of the organization. It's privacy. And we won the bid. We won the pitch. Right? Because we came with evaluation. Others pitched the training without evaluation. We told them we would measure and we would evaluate. We are high on M&E. M&E is measurement and evaluation. As HR, L&D trainer, if you don't do M&E and you're running away from M&E, that means you're not ready. You're not ready to show ROI and ROE. If you're ready to show that, make sure you must love M&E. You must measure and you must evaluate. So that was what made us to win. We started the engagement. The training was supposed to hold in September. I asked them for data. They said there's no data. I said, Omo. I'm sorry, Omo means in Yoruba is like, I don't even know what to say that in Nigeria. It's more like, what are you saying? Please excuse me. You know, what are you saying? I told them we cannot move forward without data. You must give us data. In short, it was as if our problem was too much. Because we're asking, they said that the staff, they wanted us to train. This was a technical, they were the technicians. They called them service technicians. So it was an organization that was into manufacturing and all that. And so these service technicians, they go to the plants to work for their customers. So we said, what's the problem? They said they don't have confidence. I said, we don't train on confidence. We can't train on confidence. They said they don't understand how to communicate. I said, what do you mean by that? So we had to drill to the root, and they were getting uptight. Now I'm just summarizing it because of time. The training that was supposed to hold in September, we didn't hold it till November. They gave us data. The data was not so clean, but we took the data because, you know, these are people that are paying you money. If you push too much, there's a stage where you don't push clients too much, and we've already pushed enough. Training that was supposed to hold in September, we put till November. I said, Sandra, respect yourself and just work with us. Even though the data was not the best, it was not so clean, we used it like that. So that is one of the problems we find in measurements for ROI. Most times, people do not have the baseline data because it is the baseline data you get at the pre-training you're going to use in post-training to evaluate. If you don't have a baseline data, how do you want to evaluate post-training? But I came across something which I'm going to share with you again too. So for those that feel that, okay, what about when we could not get baseline data? Can we still evaluate? Yes. I was reading a book. So Samson, please put this book on the name of this book on the chat box for them. Get it. If you're an L&D and HR person, you're not reading book, you're on your own, no? On your own means, I don't know how to explain that again. Nigeria, Sandra, make sure, no, it's not only Nigerians we have here. On your own means that you're on your own. That's what it is. I don't know how to explain that, right? It's called measurement and evaluation on a shoestring. I'll take that again. Measurement and evaluation on a shoestring by Alaina Sislakta. Alaina Sislakta. Alaina is Alaina. Sislakta is SZLACHTA, PhD. I bought this book last year from Amazon. I'm in Lagos, Nigeria. I bought it on Amazon and they sent it to me. That was where I found that when I read that, and from the research she had done, that even if you did not collect baseline data, you can still get data you would use for evaluation. Now that means you're going to walk back. I'm not going to talk about that because of time. Go and read the book. You're going to walk back, and by walking back, you can at least do something so that you don't lose. Now, so that's a challenge we have here with ROI. No accurate baseline data, no financial tracking. ROE, the challenge we have is there is no clarity of expectation. I'm going to share everything I tell you. I'm going to give you a live example that happened with a client. Now, let me tell you about this now. A client reached out to me, two of them. Let me give you one. Reached out to us in last 2 months, and said, please, we want you to train our staff on communication. Come and be among the faculty. I said, okay, because she had worked where she was working before. I was a faculty there, so I was always going to train for them. So she moved to another organization, a government organization now in Nigeria here. So I told her, okay, when you say communication, what exactly do you want to train your senior managers on communication on? She said, they are not communicating well. I said, what does that mean? Are you understanding now? I said, what does that mean? What do you mean they are not communicating well? Don't forget, I'm trying to explain to you clarity of expectation, the ability to capture intangible outcomes, because this is intangible now. They are not communicating. I said, what do you mean by that? She said, that their direct reports, they don't communicate with their direct reports. I said, what do you mean that they do not communicate with the direct reports? Yes, Bernard, we're going to type the book. I don't know if maybe something his network has taken it away. Okay, I'm going to type it before we finish, please. Remind me, I'm going to type it. I think the network kicked him out again. We are having network issues here. So I said communicate well. So I said, she was already getting upset on the phone. I said, you don't need to get upset, just listen. It took over 45 minutes, and I'm serious about this. 45 minutes. As I was drilling and drilling, she now said that, okay, that the board sends, there's a report, information the board sends to senior managers that they need the next line, that's +1 and +2 below them to use, but they don't send this to them. And so the information the board will need for them to do the work, they don't do it. I say, can you see we are getting somewhere? So I told her, so you're saying that when information is sent by the board to these senior managers, the senior managers do not cascade this information to their direct report? She said, yes. I said, great. And you want them to be able to do that. How often do you want them? When you said they need to cascade it, I say, yes, they need to cascade the information. What is the duration of cascading of the information? She paused. She said, okay, yes, I can remember on our policy, they are supposed to cascade the information within 48 hours. I said, are you seeing we are getting somewhere? So meaning that if the senior managers do not when they get this information and they don't cascade it to their line direct reports within 48 hours, they are going to be held responsible. She said, yes. I said, can you see we've gotten somewhere? Do you know what she said? She said, thank you so much, ma. Thank you. Thank you. I said, you're welcome. I said, but I'm not going to do that training. She said, why? I said, because you are not ready for what I want. See how it took us just talking about this. She said, I'm just 6 months in this organization. My director of HR will not take this. They will feel that I'm coming to bring problem. I'm just using 1 feet to stand. That I just got it. I said, yeah. I said, not a problem. At least you've learned something. Keep learning on your own, but I'm not going to come for that training. I'm going to send you. I gave them some names. I said, there's people that can do the training. I'll send them to you. Let them work with them. At the stage I am in my career and as a business, moving this business organization I'm working for, we are at the stage that any organization that doesn't want us to show ROI and ROE, we are not going to work with you. There are other people that will work with you, so go and work with them. We are redefining what training means for Africa and beyond, and we will keep doing it. If it's gonna take us, no matter how long it's gonna take us. So I've turned that down like up to 3 to 4 jobs this year. I said we will not do it, and my staff are looking at me. I say, you need to understand this. We need the money. Yes, we need the money, but we're not going to take a money that would spoil what we are building. So you people need to understand this. This is where we stand. And so if you're on this ship with me, understanding that let's go together on the ship, that don't worry, the money will come. Let's do the right things. You know? So you can imagine what all the things. So if you don't get the expectations right, if you're unable to define these expectations, you will have issue measuring it and you have issue evaluating it. What do you mean by communicating well? Is that a word? How can you measure communicating well? But you can measure that the senior managers are supposed, every information they get from the board within 48 hours, they should disseminate it. You can measure that and you can evaluate that. And if they don't do that, you have where to hold them responsible. But how can you measure that they are not communicating well? Tell me, how do you want to measure that? So that is there's another example I have for you, but because of time, there are many examples, and these are live cases. Who cares about the ROI? Okay, we've talked about that. What is the focus area? ROI focuses more cost savings, productivity, increase productivity, reduce errors, income gains. Okay, I've talked about that. Then increase trust, performance, behavior shift, performance improvement, strategic alignment. That's what focus areas are. Now, who is this visible to? Stakeholders visibility. For the stakeholders, it is the financial one, and it's easy to communicate. That is what is very more visible. People want the numbers. It's very visible. They see the numbers. It's easier. Yes, Samson, I know. I don't have time to discuss that. Samson is saying supervising well, because we had someone in the webinar last week that talked about supervising well. Those are examples. I can't give that because of time. Supervising well. What does supervising well mean? That's a story for another day. Now, it is financial and it's easy to communicate. So that's why stakeholders, even HR and L&D, those are what they look at, because it's very easy to communicate. It is financial numbers. It was $20, now it's $40. They can show that, they can communicate that. But the visibility of ROE to stakeholders is on a medium, because it is strategic and it often needs to be shown with stories or behavior shift. If you cannot show the stories, cannot show the behavior shift, it is very difficult for stakeholders to see it. So at this point, I want to pause. Let me take your questions, because the next thing is I wanted to show you how ROE sets the stage for ROI. Before I continue, let me pause here and take your questions. Are there questions, or you want me to continue? Are you digesting it, or are there questions at this point in time? Let me pause, because we have just 10 minutes more. I know we may not finish this, and so if you don't finish it, we'll move it to next week. Are there questions? Okay, Caroline says none. Okay, Osenela says, how can you implement ROE in an ROI inclined business environment? Okay. Bernard said digesting all. Great. Now, how can you apply ROE in an ROI inclined business environment? Now, that is what the business understands. Most of them is the numbers. Let's see the numbers. The numbers. You have to be strategic about it. One, you start with creating awareness first. Let people know that training is not all about the numbers. That training is far back, because even if you're showing we met the numbers, that's why you need to be strategic. Are they meeting the expectations of management? Is your expectations of management being met? Is expectations of management being met? So you need to go back to what are the objectives of the business? Let's start with them. What is the objective? Because if you don't tie training to objective of the business, even in that business, I'm sure their objective, if you look at the objective, that's okay for businesses that are using So some people use 360 degree. I'm trying to talk about, there's one that there are various appraisal techniques. One just came to mind, just jumped out of my head. They would always be for people. There are areas for people, there are areas for finance, there are areas for processes. So you need to check what are the objectives of your organization first. If you want, you can use that as a case study. You can talk about it, Osanella. Go first and look at the objectives and go with the objectives strategically, because I'm sure it's not just numbers that are the objectives. There are other areas. Even I worked in an organization that was ROI driven. When I say ROI driven, they were figures driven. But even in the objectives, there were ROE objectives there, but they were more focusing on ROI. And you have to show them that when we have ROI, we are talking about ROI. What about the ROE? We've met our numbers, but we are complaining. Leadership is still complaining of there's no trust. Leadership is still complaining of ownership mindset. Leadership is still complaining of no satisfaction, no confidence, everything. Those are ROEs. So you need to start from there. I want to ask, does it help you? Does it answer your question, Osonella? Thank you. You're welcome. So always go to the objective, the business objective. If you don't tie these things to the business objectives, you will not go have any headway. You must always tie it to the business objectives. You need, for you to show ROI or ROE, you must get the right data. If not, the training will just be a tick in the box. And if leadership needs, because I hear people saying that our leader is saying that they want to, how do you show where are the returns for this training? Let me share with you again. I was discussing with a GM of HR in one of the oil and gas, and he told me that he was having a discussion with his CEO, and his CEO was telling him, saying, those people we sent to Harvard, how far? Where I can't see returns on the, and for you to go to Harvard, you're paying thousands of dollars. He said, where are the returns? So even this leadership, they know. He said, where are the returns? Like, it seems that these people just went to waste money on them. And the GM of HR was just looking at him. And that's when I told him about this ROE, and he said, sure, Sandra, come and run this for us. Come and run this for us. Come and help us with this. I said, we are coming. So you must be able to show ROE. It's not just the figures, the numbers. How is this increasing trust? How is this making people to lead? How is this making people to have ownership mindset? How is it increasing trust? How is it shifting the culture? All these things are very key. So I'm going to stop here. We're going to continue next week. So I want to take questions and take announcements. We're going to continue next week. And from next week, we'll start with how to show how ROE sets the stage for ROI. Your mind will be blown by the time you see this. So I want to invite you for the mastermind training, which I'm talking about. The mastermind training is an 18 weeks training. We are starting it July 1. It is for directors of HR, directors of L&D, managers of HR, managers, L&D managers. It is an 18 weeks training online, virtually, every week, to help you, to show you return on investment and return on expectation for all your training initiatives. So we're going to be guiding you week by week for 18 weeks. So it's a paid program. So if you're interested in it, something, please drop our organization website address so they can go to the website, click on LMS and register for it. So if you're having any challenge, also put our email address. They can reach out to us. If you're having any challenge, you can reach out to us. So for those that may be watching it, it is www.mbrandconsultinggroup.com. That's our email, our website, www.mbrandconsultinggroup.com. When you go there, you click on Academy and go through and register for the masterminds and 18 weeks training. Yes. Then the book, Bernard is really on this book, Measurement and Evaluation on a Shoestring. Measurement and Evaluation on a Shoestring by Alaina, Alaina Shizlata, SZLACHTA, PhD. Then another book I need you to get, Please, HR and L&D, go and read books. So see another one. What makes training really work? By the 12 levers of transfer effectiveness by Dr. Ina Webuham. What makes training really work? Get that book. You will tell me thank you later. Another one on evaluation. These are books I built my models on. There's no need of reinventing the wheel. I built my models from years I've been. So see, this is 4 levels of training evaluation. Something by James and Wendy Kirkpatrick. So if you're HR and you don't have this book, and L&D you don't have this book, you've not started these books, you don't have it. Then another one I will also tell you to buy again is Training on Trial. It's also by Jim and Wendy Kirkpatrick. Training on Trials. I'm sure you say this book is enough, Oracle. This is another one. This is also very good. Transfer of Training. It's by Mary Elbrod and John Newstrom. Let me stop there. There are many other books on my shelf. I don't want to, so let me not chase you away. These books are very, very key. And start with those ones first. There are many more. And get ready, my book is coming out. Yeah, it's called the Training Transfer Effectiveness Blueprints. Step-by-step way for you to measure training, to show return on investment and return on expectation on your training. So just get ready to get the book. My book is coming out, so it should be coming out very soon. So that's it's called the Mastermind, where I'm going to be teaching all the steps. So even what I'm going to be teaching you sit also in the book, step-by-step way to guide you on how to show ROI and ROE for every of your training initiative. So go there, sign up, and you will not regret. You'll be so glad you did. From July 1 till 18 weeks, we end in October. Then I'm sure behind me you can see what we have there. It's called the International Training Transfer Effectiveness Conference. It's coming up in Lagos, Nigeria, November 13 and 14 at the Lagos Oriental Hotel. If you can't come to Nigeria, then join online. So go again to our website, click on ITT conference and register. Take note of the early bird now. The early bird. So if you can't come to Nigeria, join virtually. So it's a hybrid. If you can't come to Nigeria, join virtually, and it's at a very, very low cost. And with that, we also have various certifications we'll be doing. So on this note, thank you so much, everyone. We have been 2 minutes above our time. I wish you a beautiful night rest, beautiful morning, afternoon, evening, night, wherever you are. And I look forward to seeing you again next week, Thursday, while we complete what we are supposed to do. And I wish you all the best. Thank you so much, and do have a good night rest. Good night, everyone. Bye.